Hi, this is Natalie Lander, voice of Kinsey, Tara Branford, Stargirl, and many others. You are listening to a W2M Net podcast. You can visit W2Mnet.com for other podcasts about entertainment, video games, sports, and wrestling. You are listening to Video Games to the Max.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Video Games to the Max. And this is episode 257. And of course we are the official podcast of W2Mnet.com. And also with Last Word on Gaming. Thanks to them for having us on there, of course. And well, we made it through another week. And now things finally start to pick up. It feels like we're finally entering into the actual year where some games have come out. There's still another week for, Hitman 3 comes out where you finally get that first big game. But at least the news has certainly started to pick up. This week was jam-packed. We're going to talk about all that stuff. So yeah, Mark, anything going on with you?
We played a delightful game of Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah. So yes, we did. It lasted about half a level. So actually, but before we, get started talking about, that really quick, if this is your first time listening, thank you. If this is your 100th time listening, thank you as well. You, of course, can listen on all of your favorite whatever devices. If you're listening on something maybe you don't like, we are on whatever you'd imagine, Spotify, iHeartRadio. We are on Amazon Music, so if you want to use Alexa, to say, hey, Alexa, play Video Games to the Max. Sorry if I activated somebody's... we have one. So that's why I did that today, and she's like, why is your voice coming out of this thing? It's like, well, my podcast is on there, yeah, my uncle got my grandma one, so my mom and her like to use it sometimes to play music or whatever. We don't have it connected to, the whole house or anything, thankfully, because sometimes You're copying all my entire conversations at work wouldn't be great. But, yeah, either way, you can listen to us on whatever you'd like. We are on YouTube as well. And, sadly we're not on video. Maybe sometime this year we'll go back to that. I gotta figure out a better way to, record us that doesn't make us, glitch out where you hear our voices but our mouths are not moving in the same, it's like when you have a bad lip sync. I'm sure that would bother people. It bothered me, so that's part of the reason why I stopped doing it. But, yeah, so, there's, been lots going on. I finally feels like we're settled in for this move now, so I'm still cramped in this small little room, but still better than,
Not having a room.
Last week. Yeah, it's still better than, last week where we were, much more having a lot of crap to do, so. Yeah, sadly, I wish, at least me, I was hoping we were going to get in a few hours with Scott Pilgrim, last night, but apparently it is not very stable online-wise.
We played two games. It was me, you, Jens, and Randy. The first game, Randy, I think, desynced.
Yeah,
because
Randy.
In our three games, it looked like he was getting piled on by an enemy. They have occasional enemy piles. You just press a button and it'll eventually.
Yeah, and he was stuck. And then Randy apparently was just playing by himself, and we weren't moving at all. So that was fun. We got back in. That one played fine. For the most part.
Until the second bus appeared, and then it dropped everyone.
Yep. We got the 3 exclamation points, and then bam. Total black screen.
Yeah, you and Jens dropped to a black screen. I don't know about Randy, but I dropped to the PS5 menu, and it just said game. I dropped to the game menu, and it said unexpected error, returning a title screen.
Oh, you got that? Yeah, mine got to the total black screen where it had to reset.
Yeah.
And do all that. So yeah, and I had put up a poll on Twitter. There was a few folks that had tweeted at me that they also had issues.
Yeah, I saw someone else
Xbox
tweeting about basically when they got to the store, they got further than we did at least, but when they got to the store section of the game. Like the second they went into a store, the game crashed.
Yeah, and then also for some reason it took until 12 o'clock in the afternoon on release day for it to show up on the PlayStation Store, whereas all the other stores had it up, prior to midnight. So that was weird too. We all got it on PS5 so we could play together because it's the one. I mean, we could have got it on Switch as well, but I'm sure the online would have been worse for that. Plus, I don't subscribe to Switch Online, and I'm not, unless they really, obviously putting Chrono Trigger on the, SNES Online thing would make me immediately do it, but they would have to, really provide, I'm sorry, I'm just not a Tetris guy, and the Mario 35 thing is intriguing, but it's not enough for me to want to pay that $20.
Believe me, Tetris is way more involved in that thing.
Well, I'm just saying,
yeah.
Right now, there's not anything that I really feel like the Switch Online is totally worth it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But, yeah, I mean, it's fine. It's a beat 'em up.
See,
yeah.
It's funny. Well, it's funny because me and Jens tried to play a different game a few nights ago, Risk of Rain 2, and he immediately hated it. He doesn't like roguelikes.
Well, yeah, he's said that before.
Right.
But that one's a co-op roguelike, right?
Right, but he didn't like that either. And then I mentioned to him, I was like, oh, Hades is kind of the same thing. The levels aren't pre-formed. It's just like the environments are, kind of. And then that pretty much talked about buying Hades forever.
Oh, no. Hades is different, though. You get to enjoy the story with the game. Yeah.
Yeah, but, he doesn't like the fact that, levels and enemies are randomized. And then he was complaining.
Well, but that's the whole point, though, is, you're going through and it's how you decide your run. I mean, if it was all the same, it would kind of defeat the purpose of being a roguelike.
Well, the funny thing is he was complaining about, because the first 5 minutes or 10 minutes of Risk of Rain 2, it's just running around and killing enemies to get enough money to unlock power-ups. And he was complaining oh, it's just busy work. And I was like, what the fuck do you think, Demon Souls is and Dark Souls and all that crap is? And he was like, oh, but you're building, it's a permanent, you're getting permanent level up, upgrades and stuff like that. And I'm like,
it's the same thing.
In this game, you're getting situational awareness, and you're not getting permanent there are permanent upgrades in Risk of Rain 2. We just didn't get any. But, you're still getting experience, or it's not just pointless busy work.
Yeah, but that's what makes Hades different and special is that you're also, getting bits of story every time you are also doing that to gain permanent weapons and upgrades and all that.
I brought up Risk of Rain 2 because as I was buying Scott Pilgrim, I messaged him and I was like, you know how you're bitching about Risk of Rain 2 when we were playing? He was like, yep. My response was, that's going to be me playing Scott Pilgrim. I don't like that game. I will play it with you guys, and I power level the character to an asinine degree, so she's I can destroy everything in one hit. But my problem with that game is twofold. I don't like enemies that block, and enemies block all the time in that goddamn game. And I don't like it that you can't hit enemies when they're down.
Yeah, the second one is weird because that's a beat 'em up trait. Normally when
you're supposed to kick them or whatever. I think when I power level my character, I got an upgrade that I can beat up characters now, when they're on the ground. But also you're supposed to block attacks, and it's that's not. No one blocks in that game because no one blocks. Period. I mean, I guess it's just something you're not used to doing in beat 'em ups. You're not used to having to block. It's different if you're playing an action game or. I guess I think maybe it's more like Streets of Rage. I mean, I didn't really play that as a kid or even now.
But Streets of Rage, I don't remember having to block it. I mean, I played the crap out of Streets of Rage 4. I didn't have to block. Well, I just moved around.
That's what I was going to say. I think you and Randy like Streets of Rage 4 quite a bit. That's a way more modern brawler than Scott Pilgrim. And I think Scott Pilgrim is trying to ape Streets of Rage or the Simpsons arcade game or Turtles and all that crap from the early 90s.
But you didn't really block in those games either.
Well, there was no block, and then enemies didn't block either. You just wailed on enemies,
Yeah.
And the whole thing was you try to avoid their attacks by being above or below them on the on the
plane, yeah.
And you can kind of do that in Scott Pilgrim, but enemies also, at least initially, enemies bury.
They come out of nowhere and they just rush you before you can even think about getting out of the way.
Before you level up, you're attacking enemies for 3 damage, 3 to 6 damage, and then like if they hit you once, it's like 12 damage, and it's like, what the hell is this?
It feels very disproportional. Like it feels like they're hitting you like a rock, and you're having to constantly. It felt like it took way too long to beat one enemy.
Yeah,
like,
especially when they're blocking on both sides. If it was like, I'm attacking the guy on the left, you attack the guy on the right, and he can't block that. That would be fine. But they block on both sides, so it's just like you're waiting for this guy to drop his guard. Meanwhile, once the second he does, he attacks you, so you take damage, and it's like, what the hell is this? But that's my Marc bitches about Scott Pilgrim minute of the show.
Yeah, sorry for people that were really looking forward to this game. I mean, it's fun. It was fun for the little bit of time we got to play.
Oh, yeah. Well, you get 4 people involved, any game's gonna be fun. I think the graphics are good. I'm a little mixed on the music personally, but I know it's quite revered by a lot of other people.
Oh, I love the music. The music's not the problem. I think, honestly, I think the music is more beloved at times than the actual game.
Yeah.
And also the subject matter. I think the game gets a lot of love because the soundtrack's great and because people like the subject matter.
Sure.
I don't know that people really love the game itself that much. Like, I think people...
I mean, I think it's
yeah.
Well, once I leveled up my character to like max level, and then it's really easy and fun. I mean,
that's max level is level 16?
Yeah.
Okay. What'd you do? Keep repeating the same level 1 over and over?
There's a code. I mean, it's an intentional cheat code where you can kill yourself and get like $80 in gold or $80 in money. But if you buy an item, once you kill yourself, you respawn. So you just keep buying the item, killing yourself, respawning, and then you go to the video store and just buy up upgrades.
I'm gonna see if how long Randy, if he is even gonna try to review that game or not. He said he was going to, and then I don't know. So we'll see how that goes.
Up to him. I mean, I wouldn't review it just because I would have a pretty negative score, at least initially, on it. But that's just me.
I'm waiting for Cyber Shadow to come out. That's my first game that I'm excited about. So. And then Medium comes out a couple of days later, so...
I'm kind of excited for, we talked about a little bit, Everspace 2 looks pretty good.
Yeah.
And then Persona 5 Strikers all the way next month.
Yeah, I'm, the one game that I guess it's the demo of a game, that I'm also excited about that comes out a couple weeks before Strikers, Little Nightmares 2.
Yeah.
That demo came out this week, and I played, I'm halfway through that demo. So it's like 40 minutes or 35 minutes, depending on how much you walk around and explore.
Right.
But yeah, I love the first one. I mean, it's very much like, Inside or, those type of games. Like you're pretty much just kind of, it's not like I do appreciate that there is puzzle solving. Like there is having to go a little bit back and forth. And, this one, I don't know how much he's, I don't know if this is the beginning of the game or this is a slice that they made just for this or whatever. I know there's chapters, but there's a little boy that you meet like a quarter way through and he starts helping you, solve the puzzles. So I definitely appreciate that. And it just makes things, more interesting. And that there's the sprint and the jump and all that. There's a lot of different ways to get through the level.
Sure.
So yeah, I'm excited for that February 11th to hit for the full game to come out. So yeah, I think it's good. I think you definitely should, if you like those kind of games, like I said, it's not a walking sim. There's definitely some things you got to do, but you are it's a 2D side scroller. It is trying to get you to go forward. But if you like those kind of games, try out that demo. It's worth your time and it's not long.
At least there's something propelling you. That was my problem with the Vanishing of Ethan Carter. I started playing that and I was like, it's so directionless that I got bored 20 minutes in. Or that PS4 game, Everyone's Gone to Rapture.
Yeah.
It's it's neat. It looks nice, but I want at least some forward momentum, or some. It doesn't have to be.
Speaking of that, similar game, Edith Finch.
Yeah, I didn't play that.
Edith Finch came out to Game Pass this week, so that's really good. But it's the same thing. You don't like that kind of game.
Yeah, I don't need some big green arrow telling me, "Hey, go this way." But some direction is nice. Let's say.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing about like little nightmares or inside, it's like, it's really obvious you're supposed to just keep going forward. It's just you can go left and right to explore things if you want to. Like, sometimes if you're solving a puzzle, you gotta go backwards, you know.
Firewatch is pretty good about that, actually.
Yeah, no, I agree with Firewatch. I know there's a lot of people that didn't like that game, but...
I mean, the story at the end gets ridiculous, but most of it holds up pretty well.
Agreed on that end. I liked Firewatch a lot, too, so...
And now they'll never make another game again.
Yeah, sadly. But, so, there, like I mentioned, there is a lot of news.
Yep.
That happened this week. So I want to go ahead and get this out of the way because I'm going to feel like weird talking about this when we have a lot of stuff that's a little bit, more detailed to talk about. The sales for the end of the year came out, which I always think it's neat to kind of look at. I mean, this year has been absolutely insane for video games.
Sure, yeah.
Considering we've all had to, be inside for a lot of that time. I think, when you're including December 2020, everything, including accessories content, hit 7.7 billion, which is a 25% rise year on year. The Switch is the highest selling console for the entire year, along with December. I mean, it helped a lot that the PS5 and Xbox Series X had shortages, but I mean, the Switch is ridiculous. It has certainly benefited from what we're all living in. And, I mean, they just now were able to start restocking, oh my god, Ring Fit. Where people are actually being able to buy it again.
Yeah.
I keep thinking about it. Like, I have really considered, like, man, do I want to get that? I know it's not, like, the most ideal thing to use.
Yeah, but it's good in a cramped environment, or
That's what I have. Is I have a cramped environment. I've gone from I've had every other job I've ever had. I'm at least walking around constantly, stalking or something like that, or the job at UPS was constantly running. But like this job is completely sedentary, so I've gained weight that I don't really want to have. So I was like, I don't want to go to the gym because we're trying to avoid. I mean, I know they have done a really good job of, trying to keep you safe at the gym, but still don't want to go there right now. And, you say you're going to go out and walk or whatever, and you just don't get up early enough, Ring Fit's a nice thing that's just there, and you can do that for like an hour or whatever. And it's a game, so, maybe something I can get Anaya to play with me or whatever. I can't get her to play anything with me right now. If it's not on her phone, she is, not into it. So I mean, it's crazy that, we'll see how much, I mean, there's still, there was, articles, I think last week they were saying they're still expecting the Switch to be outselling, PS5 and Series consoles for next year. I mean, if you look at some of the games already coming out, with what they showed off with, Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury, which looks freaking awesome, it looks like it's not levels, it's just one open world.
Yeah.
Now that you're going through, so I know there's people that were upset about that. I kind of dig it that they went a different way on that. It really does make it feel like it's a 3D world. What did you think of the Bowser's, Fury stuff?
You mean when he turns huge?
Yeah, he turns into Super Saiyan Cat Man.
Well, that's Mario. I mean, probably just turns super evil. I mean,
yeah,
they keep powering him up more and more. Like it's like laughable at this point.
Yeah, I mean, he's like brooding, right? He's like brooding over the entire level, and then was that like Bowser Jr. is Mario's friend?
Yeah,
this is there. Yeah, I mean, it's cool that they're adding that, and they're not like charging extra for it. There's like a 2-player co-op too with Bowser Jr. So maybe you and Jens can.
If we both somehow. Well, he actually doesn't kind of like 3D platformers that much.
Oh, he doesn't.
We had a big talk about that a few nights ago about, we also played Shadow Warrior 2. Because he likes that game. I think it's okay. But he didn't like have a console growing up as a kid. Or, he didn't get a console until I think maybe the PS2 or maybe at least PS1.
Oh,
but like he didn't really grow up on like Mario, for example. Like I think he's never played like Mario 54.
My gosh, you gotta get that, I still keep reminding myself that I need to buy that
collection
Super Mario 3D collection thing.
But,
even though I still think that it's not gonna go away. They're just gonna sell it piecemeal, or which is gonna make it more expensive.
Yeah, but think of an adventure game in the mid-90s and he's played it.
Yeah, I mean, hey, like, you all grew up on different things. I mean, that's the reason why I like platformers, because Mario's was sort of the games that I had.
Right.
That weren't like sports games, which is ironically stuff I don't even give two craps about anymore. Unless it's like an arcade game or something. So, I just got used to playing platformers, and, Randy's kind of the same way. Maybe that'll be something me and him play then, but, it's still cool that they're doing that. It's still really interesting how the Wii U was so lambasted for not, I think it's not so much that it didn't have games, it was just that there was just so much time between these huge games with like nothing.
Well, they also didn't use the controller barely at all. Games that were ported over were just very bare bones.
Mm-hmm. That's true too. I mean, it didn't feel like people. I mean, EA still has that problem with their games, and obviously 2K as well with the WWE series. At least the 2K basketball games seem to be fine.
Yeah.
Where they just seem like an afterthought on Switch. But,
oh yeah. Well, I mean, at a certain point they were releasing. I mean, this is, I think, also the Wii, but they were releasing the flashback edition or the classic edition or basically ports of the old sports games with basically a roster update, and that's about it.
Yeah, or that Call of Duty game that was awful.
Yeah. I mean, that's what they're doing on Switch now. It's like FIFA.
Well, yeah, but that's EA. It's what they do. They know that they're getting their money from the other versions, so they don't really have to do that. They're kind of just doing it just to do it. And they even released, I think it was the same game, basically, FIFA 20 to FIFA 21. And there was reviews that basically said the same thing, okay, well, we're going to lower the score and basically repost our review from last year because you didn't do anything.
Yeah.
So, it's just hilarious. But, it's still interesting that, we're getting all these Wii U ports and people are just absolutely digging them up and loving them, and then you got the people that are like, God, I'm so sick of these ports. Why are we getting when you get to, if Zelda 35th Anniversary and Metroid 35th Anniversary come out with the two games that you expect it to be, which is Skyward Sword and the Metroid Prime trilogy.
Yeah.
What's left of the big games? You've got pretty much almost everything at this point. I mean, there probably is some
Make some HD ports of Mario RPG and Advance Wars.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, but I was just talking about Wii U games.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I mean...
Yeah, all the big Wii U games are already on there, or are, conspicuously missing, so...
I mean, yeah, you even had the Pikmin 3 Deluxe, which was, released under the radar, and kind of... Right. I think it was, more of okay, well, if you like Pikmin, then...
What about... The only one I can think of, is it on the Switch, Xenoblade Chronicles X?
Well, yeah, that one, but that I think, right now, Monolith Soft is working on Zelda Breath of the Wild, too, so I don't know if unless they have a team working on that.
I doubt it, I mean, yeah.
But there was a lot of gamepad use for that, so it's almost like Skyward Sword, they would really have to, they would really have to do some work. To get that to work. I mean, almost.
Metroid Prime 3 has that issue, doesn't it also? Isn't that the one that has a bunch of motion control BS?
Yeah, they definitely would have to, fix that. But I mean, if you look at it, if you go down that list of the stuff that was on the Wii U that was great, other than getting, which they could do Wind Waker HD as well.
Well, I mean, that'd just be a very basic port job.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Zelda 35th Anniversary, so if they've released all these games for Mario, I'd imagine they'll do the same for Zelda as well. You'll get stuff like that. But I mean, if you look at it, Mario Kart 8, 3D World's coming out, Smash Brothers has its own thing. Bayonetta came out really early during the Switch life cycle. Mario Maker already had a sequel. It's funny to look at all these like Skylanders games are some of the best reviewed games of the Switch on the Wii U.
Yeah, now it's completely over.
Yeah, now it's completely dead. Like, Pikmin 3 came out last year. Would they do another port of Twilight Princess? We'll see, I guess. I don't think so, but, Xenoblade Chronicles X, they already did New Super Mario Brothers. Might be the biggest one. They already did Donkey Kong Country. Splatoon has its own, thing. They did Treasure Tracker already. Token Mirage Sessions was last year. I mean, so, like, they have done almost pretty much every, Yoshi already had its thing. Wonderful 101 did it through
Yeah. I mean, let's face it, the Wii U's over. Let's move on.
Yeah. I mean, but that's hilarious that basically pretty much every major game that was on the Wii U has now appeared on the Switch, has sold a ton now on.
It's on a platform that people care about. So of course, it's going to sell better.
Yep. And Nintendo's gotten to like breathe second life into those games. So imagine now when they don't have that to pull from. Is that when they release the Switch Pro or whatever?
I doubt it. I mean, as we pointed out, like the Switch is doing fine on its own.
Yeah.
And they never care about hardware, unlike Microsoft or Sony. So.
But they do like to iterate a lot. So, I mean, they're the ones that had that new 3DS that came out that was supposed to be more powerful, and only 2 games came out for it that really.
Even if they iterated, I don't think they would take advantage of it.
Yeah, I mean, they'll take advantage of it to a certain point. Like, it'll look 4K on your TV, but is it really going to matter? No. I mean, will the people buy it? Sure. They do. People buy the Pro and the Xbox One X, so why not? But I probably won't.
Yep.
So, unless I can write it off as a expense or something. But that's about it. So, yeah, Switch doing great stuff. Interesting that with all these games that came out this year, Call of Duty got to blow everyone out of the water with not only Black Ops Cold War, but Modern Warfare from last year is the second best-selling game.
That's not that surprising.
I mean, to be fair, Animal Crossing New Horizons does not include digital sales, so perhaps Animal Crossing New Horizons would probably be second, if not really rivaling for first, because I bought that game digitally. I don't know about you.
Well, you bought me that game, so yeah.
Well, yeah, I bought it. Yeah, I bought it for you digitally. I bought it digitally. I'm sure Jens bought it.
Yeah, you had it digitally also. I mean,
so
sure.
That's just us. I'd imagine a lot of people did because they didn't want to have to go to the stores closed pretty much as soon as the game came out. So, that's weird that Nintendo would not have revealed that by now when we're talking about the entire year, but I guess Nintendo's waiting to do Nintendo likes to do their own, thing later on. Kind of cool to see that Valhalla's 5th behind Madden. That game has not been out very long.
And it's deserving of such, especially since Madden is not.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I mean, it's one of the few games for the Series X that if you got one at launch that you're really wanting to buy for that. Obviously it's there for the PS5 as well, but just that they have their own launch games that are, much more worth buying.
Right.
Last of Us Part 2 is right underneath that, Ghost, so those two are right next to each other. And then Nintendo, absolutely, again, to point out, owns about half this list. So like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is an old game at this point, still ridiculous.
I mean, yeah, how long GTA 5 has been on this list?
Yeah. I mean, but it's not on there finally. And Mario Kart 8 Deluxe still is, Mario 3D All-Stars.
They're releasing GTA 5 for PS5 and, the Series X, so...
Well, to be fair, most people that are doing GTA at this point are doing the GTA Online, which that doesn't get factored into that stuff. Final Fantasy VII Remake is right there. Marvel's Avengers, which you can say what you want about their player base, but the Marvel, cachet is still there because Spider-Man is right underneath that. The NBA game, Smash Bros, of course, but they've been getting new characters and stuff, so that makes sense why you keep selling for that game. FIFA 21, Mortal Kombat 11, Dragon Ball Z. Pretty cool for Bandai Namco that game has been selling well the whole year. MLB The Show, Cyberpunk sneaks in at 19, and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, a game that you liked a lot. So
yeah, that's good.
You know, cool for all those games to be there, and you know, yeah, it's just interesting to look at that sometimes as for the whole year what sells, and no surprise for the 12th year in a row, I think Call of Duty is number one. And
yeah.
Ridiculous as it is. People always say, oh my god, people are going to get tired of it. But apparently they don't, because it's still,
even when certain games they should. Like, I don't think Ghost was a good one, for example.
To be fair, looking at December, Cyberpunk was number 2. That's even with apparently they didn't include digital sales because of all the stuff with, that happened with Sony and everything. Cool to see Immortals Phoenix Rising was there in the top 10. I wish more people would have been able to enjoy that game.
I still gotta play that.
You have started to play it, or?
No, I said I still have to. I haven't started it yet.
You'll get to it.
But yeah.
Maybe there's another downtime.
Well, I really just want to get through WoW, or, the WoW expansion.
Yeah. That's understandable.
I finished it. I got to about as far as I can get in that game without, seriously playing it. So, and I don't really want to do that.
Fair enough. Well, speaking of coming back, it's back, folks. It's back. Lucasfilm now has a games platform. Every single Star Wars game, and apparently Indiana Jones, will be under the Lucasfilm banner. Doesn't matter who's making it, whether it's EA, or whether it's Ubisoft. No. And who knows if there are other ones that are sneaking by, or whether it's Bethesda making Indiana Jones, which that's not something I would have thought of.
It's Machine Games. They did the Wolfenstein games. So the question I have is, are those games going to be cross-platform?
Yeah, I feel like that was probably being signed before the Bethesda signing.
Yeah, you'd hope.
So I would say maybe yes, but I don't know. I would say yes. I think that that's going to be the last one.
Yeah.
Even though it's weird to think that you'd imagine Starfield comes out before this game. And Starfield looks like it's going to be exclusive, so weird that you would, unless it's one of those, again, case, to be fair, Phil Spencer did say case by case. So maybe that's something where it's not that Microsoft wouldn't want to make it exclusive, it's maybe Disney says,
oh, I'm sure Disney would say,
you kind of have to.
Yeah, of course.
Maybe we can do a thing where you get to put it on Game Pass, or maybe we get to do a thing where you get timed exclusivity for a while. But man, that would be something that would they really not put it on the PlayStation frickin' 5? I don't know about that.
Probably not. Also, the other thing is, say what you want about, Wolfenstein 2, or, Machine Games. They make shooters. I don't really see Indiana Jones as
No, it's not. It's it'd be more like Uncharted.
Yeah, but in first person? That doesn't sound, they've tried that before with, Mirror's Edge. That's not great. Or they're gonna have, whip swinging in first person.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting how they do that, right? I'm sure there will be shooting sections, but that's not what that series is. It's not about shooting.
Right, Indiana Jones, when he shoots someone, it's kind of as an afterthought, or,
the last thing he possibly wants to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's trying a different way. It's more of an adventure game, so, yeah, interesting. But, they are bringing it back into Lucasfilm, so maybe, and considering that you do have, Tim Schafer as part of the Xbox team as well, do you have some folks there that are more, they have more familiarity with adventure games? Maybe they can help out. I'm going to be really interested to see how they go about doing this. It is going to have its own story, so It doesn't have anything to do with the Indy 5 that's being filmed right now with Harrison Ford, and also that Todd Howard is freaking executive producing as well. So they really they put the top guns on this, at least to make sure it did well. Interesting that it was really, the beginning of the week was, okay, Lucasfilm just keeps topping itself. Like, what can we do? Because it kind of came out, things started like, alright, we're gonna get a next gen update or current gen update for Fallen Order. Oh, you're gonna get, 4K stuff, 4K stuff for Series X, and PS5 is gonna be at 1200p for some reason, and all that. Okay, cool, whatever. If you really like that, then, which my Fallen Order for Game Pass updated by itself today when I turned it on to play the little Nightmares demo. I haven't played it to see how good it looks or anything yet, but
I know Jens is playing it, or he's playing it today, and he really liked it.
Cool, I will have to do that. I still need to actually play Fallen Order, but again, the time to do that would have been like a few weeks ago when there was nothing coming out, so I still have a few weeks though. Yeah, I still have a few weeks before Cyber Shadow comes and the Medium comes and all that. So maybe I'll get to it. Yeah, Lucasfilm is going to be an interesting thing. I mean, like I don't know how much
it seems like every decade or so Disney realizes like, hey, we should try making games. It lasts for like 2 or 3 years and it falls by the wayside. So hopefully this one where they're just going, hey, we own a bunch of crap. How about we just have other people make games for us?
Yeah, that's the smart thing. And I think also they've learned from that, the Marvel deal, the way they've been doing Marvel stuff. And that's something you could point to as well to say maybe Indiana Jones is not gonna be multi-platform because Ultimate Alliance was only on Switch. And yes, Spider-Man is basically associated with Sony at this.
When I read it, I felt like Nintendo kind of paid for Ultimate Alliance. Like they are the ones.
Right, but how do we know Microsoft didn't pay for Indiana Jones? Like, I mean, we don't know how far back this went. I mean, there's folks saying it's like 3 years ago. We also don't know how far these Bethesda talks have been, but I'd imagine they're not 3 years ago either. But, could Microsoft at least pay for some time exclusivity or have the...
I'm sure it'll apply to see some, like, DLC mission or, like, get, like, some Indiana Jones exclusive skin, like old Indy or something like that.
Well, I mean, if they can get the deal with Disney where it's on Game Pass day one, that's a huge win over PlayStation 5.
I fully expect that not to happen because Disney wants to get paid.
Well, what if they pay Disney, some ridiculous amount to have it on there? I mean, I think that's a huge... I'm not saying that... Because, look, this game could come out and maybe it's not like,
let's face it.
A 90 or whatever. Maybe it isn't that where it's not a system seller, perhaps.
Most indie games aren't great.
Yeah, that's true, too. Those two old-ass
adventure games, that's about it.
And the Lego games, maybe. That's about... Those are the last Indiana Jones games, too. It's the Lego ones.
Yeah.
But, I think also it's just... That would just be interesting. Could they do that? Could they really test the power of Game Pass to be able to say, this game is coming to Sony as well, but this is going to be in Game Pass, so you can pay your $15 or you can pay $60 or $70. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, I guess this means that the EA deal is over.
For Star Wars?
Yeah, for Star Wars. And they're not done making games. I fully imagine that at some point we're going to get a Jedi Fallen Order 2 announcement.
Oh, yeah. See, that's the thing is, they signed this long-ass deal with EA to make Star Wars games, and they made 4 of them, and 2 of them aren't good. And, Fallen Order is a good one.
To be fair, Battlefront wound up being good later.
Yeah, it only took 2 years or 3 years to get it in shape.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically the Cyberpunk thing. They had to be shamed into making it good and removing all the microtransactions. And
Fallen Order is great, and the
Squadrons is really good. Yeah,
but it's just kind of lacking in content, or it's just not as fully featured as one might want.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
That's nothing that's not a slight against the game per se. It's just it wasn't budgeted to be some AAA game, nor should it have been.
Well, yeah, when you're starting something new that's only a certain part of the Star Wars universe
title. Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't want to pack it full bore with stuff, and then what if it doesn't sell?
Right.
So that was smart on there. But this is great for Star Wars as a whole. Like, there's so much that it's like, now you can fully realize what Star Wars can be, just like with the books, the movies, the TV shows. Like, Disney is really going full bore with all that, just like they are with Marvel. Like, you can finally have that entire universe of video games of different ones that you could, if you wanted to, have BioWare make KOTOR 3 now, right?
Well, I mean, they could, but they don't want to. Like, believe me,
right? They don't want to.
If Disney had said, "Hey, we want you EA to make KOTOR 3," EA would have been like, "All right, fine," but they clearly don't care. So,
well, but could they throw that to, like, maybe tell Microsoft, like, "Hey, what if you have Obsidian do KOTOR 3 or something?" That's what's cool is you could have these different things with Star Wars. And that's really what they need. Like, Marvel is kind of what it is. Like, they had, Spider-Man has its thing, which does great. The Iron Man thing is kind of in its own world with the VR. And then, Avengers, unfortunately, was what it was. Which who knows how much of that is Disney were they pushing for a service game? Was that Square that really was pushing for a service game? I'll be waiting for, if Jason Schreier ever does the breakdown of that, how that happened. I mean, again, look, it's number 11 for the entire year, so it sold well. It just, the player base didn't stick with it, so.
I mean, hey, remember Anthem?
Yeah. I still don't think it's as, like, craptacular as Anthem.
I mean, no, it's not as bad as Anthem, but if the player base remains at that level, like, it can't work as a games for service when there's no service. Or, the service is play the game online with people, and it's like, well, there's no one else to play it with, so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many more of these DLCs they have to try to bring juice back into it, but.
I mean, one of the biggest problems for me with Avengers is, like, there's a complete lack of personality in that game. You're just facing, like, nameless robots, all the time.
Yeah. I mean, say what you will about, like, those Ultimate Alliance games, but eventually, like, when they add things, those are, like, the villains you know.
Well, even, like, Marvel Heroes, like, that had a ton of villains, like, at least it had Sentinels, those were at least different colored robots. But it had a ton of, like, C tier, B tier villains that you faced constantly.
Yeah.
This has, like, another Ultron clone, or, like, this robot. It's like, okay.
Yeah, it's like they were too scared to, again, maybe Disney put their hand in again and said, well, no, you can't just be using a bunch of villains from the comics. Like,
yeah,
they haven't reached those in the movies, so you can't do that in the game.
Right, but it's like the Disney corporate ownership is like the problem. Like, look at like what I would say, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Like, that game is MCU in fighting form, and no one cared because it had no personality or nothing to surprise people. And
hopefully, you hope that this means that with Star Wars, they're gonna be a little bit.
Well, they've shown they already have been. Like, they're more open to everything supposed to be in the stupid same universe crap, but they've shown a willingness to at least expand a little further.
Yeah. I mean, and hopefully with Marvel getting these TV shows now, they'll be able to eventually kind of loosen the grip.
Yeah.
A bit on that as well. But, we'll see. The Ubisoft one, I think, is the most intriguing for me. Like, is this going to be another just Ubisoft thing, but with Star Wars? Or are they really going to try to do something different? I mean, either way, I think that's cool.
It's going to be, I think, massive, and they did the Division, so that makes me kind of a little iffy. I mean, I like the Division as a whole, or as a concept is fine, but, like, I don't have anyone to play it with, so it becomes really pointless to me at a certain point.
Yeah, I mean, they could do that, right? Like, they could do a Division Star Wars?
Sure.
Yeah.
But the problem is everyone's just going to be like they do to the lightsaber.
Yep. I think there's a lot of people that are going to feel like that's pretty awesome, too. So, that's the thing, I think, is, are you going to try to do the Division? Are you going to try to do, like, Far Cry or Assassin's Creed?
I can almost guarantee it's going to be the Division. Or it'll be some games as a service, online focused thing. It's not going to be like
I hope not.
It's not going to be straight shooter like Battlefront, but it's going to be like an RPG shooter, like, or an RPG game like The Division.
I just don't want to see them go that route. Like, I'm good with having less service games and not having as as many.
I mean, yeah, if it was like Assassin's Creed, that'd be cool. But they probably would have said, hey, we're giving this to the Assassin's Creed team, not the Division team.
Yeah. Well, but also Assassin's Creed team has things to do.
There's like 40 of them. I mean, one of them could crank this game out.
Sure. Yeah, you have a good point about that. Do you have a lot of teams? Okay, so that was huge news for this week. We did have a few delays with Super Nintendo World getting delayed because Japan got a huge surge in COVID infections. So, yep, they had to postpone that till later.
Yep. It's like an indefinite delay too. It didn't say, hey, we'll be opening up back in May or something. Like it's no, it's closed for until it gets under control.
Yeah, hopefully they can, because then it puts the Olympics in jeopardy again, and if they have to delay it again, they have to actually just cancel it.
Right.
So, because they already told Japan, you cannot delay till 2022. It's either you have them this year or you have nothing. So, let's see how that goes. But the, I guess, bigger delay if you're looking at gaming is the Harry Potter Hogwarts Legacy game. That I think was one of the more anticipated games of this year, regardless of the controversy around it, even though she's not making any money off of it, it's still her property.
Yeah.
J.K. Rowling. It's now a 2022 game. And, Cyberpunk is again in the news, which we'll talk about in a second. I think this, not just with COVID, obviously COVID is going to be delaying a lot of games. We're not done. There's going to be games that are going to get delayed because you had a lot of games that were kind of almost done that came out, right? Like Last of Us 2, Ghost, Cyberpunk, even though really it shouldn't have come out. Final Fantasy VII Remake. A lot of those big games that came out last year, they were pretty much at the end, so they were able to get them to come out. Like, there's games that were in middle of production, at the beginning of production.
Right.
That you didn't hear much about. They're supposed to come out this year, and then all this work from home started, and you're going to hear about the delays now, or later this year, or whatever. So, don't expect more of this, not less of this, sadly. I mean, I was kind of looking forward to, the Hogwarts Legacy game as well, just because it's an RPG, it's set in that world, which I enjoy.
Yeah, but think about how many Harry Potter games there have been, and how none of them have been good.
Yeah, but I mean, this is the kind of thing you want to do in a Harry Potter game, not do Pokemon Go or what those other games.
There was that Gears of War Harry Potter game on 360.
Oh Lord!
It was literally a cover-based shooter.
I mean, that was it Quidditch?
No, this was. Quidditch is
no, I'm saying the Quidditch one was fine because that's.
Well, it's super focused. And sure, but most of them had try to have this big open world or big be the movie, and I think that doesn't work really.
Yeah,
this Dragon Ball or just Dragon Ball Dragon Ball Fighter Z works because it's very focused, and you're not flying around blowing up mountains constantly.
Yeah, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, not
right.
Focused. This one shows promise, so I'm really hoping that...
it looks cool, but we'll see what happens.
But good on them to just be able to say, okay, it's coming out in 2022. We're not even going to try for later this year or whatever. It is a 2022 game, and people just gotta live with it. And it looked like most people were positive on that. That's good. Hopefully we can look at delays more like that, because you're going to see a lot more.
Yeah.
I did mention CD Projekt Red. Oh god. Here we go with this again. This time, because, just writing Dear Gamers blah 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 on a yellow background ain't gonna cut it. You've done this too much already. Marcin Iwinski, the CEO and co-founder of CD Projekt Red, went on a 5-minute video that should have been about 2 minutes shorter. Cause he said too much. Gotta say it right now. He talked too much.
That's what CEOs always do, though.
It's just he said too much. He really should have edited himself, because then he opened himself up to saying things he shouldn't say. And that's my problem. Okay, so he had a 5-minute video he looked like he hadn't slept in a while.
I mean, yeah.
You could tell in his eyes. In that part, at least he's sitting there putting in the hours with the team, whatever that is. And
you see the desperation just like in Sakurai videos.
Yeah, like you see it in his face. Like he's sad. He's not happy about this, but he also didn't do himself favors. Like, okay, saying that we take responsibility, that we're sorry, that, we didn't meet up to our quality standards. Okay, cool. Like, that's the stuff that we need to hear from you, but not, oh, we just didn't. It just, like, we did not see it in the testing. And the bandwidth of the console wasn't strong enough to reach to, like, be able to stream and hold and all that stuff. And, like, we tried to do it all on PC and then downgrade and, like, almost blaming it on QA and blaming on the testing. And it's like, no, I'm pretty sure you got told about all these bugs and you guys just said, nope, I'm gonna get it out.
Yeah.
Like, no, forget it. It's like, no, you're saying, oh, don't blame any of our teams, but then you kind of as an aside blame your testing team and they're the mules. They're the ones that get paid like peanuts. They get paid what you get paid at my job you get paid better than working at the grocery store, but not much. And to be sitting there doing a lot of shit work and then get blamed for all of it. And then a lot of times they're even separated. They're not even part of the development team.
Yeah.
So like,
I've heard stories about like, oh, the QA team has found something and the developer's like, we can't fix it. Or, it's just known.
Or the developer gets offended.
Yeah.
Because you found out. It's like, look, I mean, there are teams that QA is, well respected, whatever, not speaking for everybody, but just some of the stories that have come out since this video, have not been good. And just, also, it's just, he also once again spoke about the review thing and lied again. Like, nobody got codes on December 8th. No one.
Yeah.
Stop lying. Just be honest and say, hey, I'm sorry, we had a PC version that we're happy about. You sure said that a bunch of times. But, like, just say we wanted everybody to see the PC version. Instead of lying and saying that people got the console version on the 2 days before, because guess what? People actually had gotten it 2 days before. There would have been a console review of that game the same day, because people would have, sad as it is, people would have been made to crunch to get something out for that game. Even if it was in progress, it would have been. So don't lie about that either. I just like sick about this whole them lying still months after. I get it that you gotta put up stuff for your stockholders, and because of this lawsuit that you're in with those stockholders and with those shareholders and all that. But it's like, dude, people are not stupid. We're seeing through you at this point. Like, I appreciate that he talked, but it bothers me. It's like, had he edited himself, it would have made him look a lot better than, oh, he talked for 5 minutes and now you can poke holes in it.
Believe me, I think people are plenty dumb. Like, this will all blow over eventually with this guy.
Oh, there was still a ton of people defending him during this. Like, again, like, I appreciate that it looks like he's really dealing with this. And you can see it in his face. You can, like you said, the desperation, all that stuff. But it's like, man, like, you need to think about the things you say. The problem is, like, most of the people that are seeing that, and the people that are complaining about it, it's sad to say, it's like, is it gonna make a big difference? Not really.
Nope.
It still sold a bunch of money, so.
I thought his roadmap that they kind of posted later on was kind of interesting, though.
I mean, like, the fact that they're coming out with free DLC before the next gen update is interesting. Why would you not just release all the systems versions first and then put DLC out? But I guess they want to sort of give the people that had to deal with the BS something.
Right.
As hey, mea culpa, like, we made DLC for you here. There are people that, I mean, I know you and Jens really enjoy that game.
Yep.
So,
I mean, it works
there are people
well
that
enough.
absolutely loved the game. Like, they spent hours and hours and hours and saying they never had a problem, so.
Yeah. Oh, believe me, I mean, it crashed. I haven't played in a while. I just after my WoW, I'm gonna go back and review it. But like, yeah, like it's gonna have a lower score because of the bugs. It has to.
Well, no, it's your experience. If that ended your experience, and you put whatever score you want on it. But it's like, it is interesting that those next-gen updates are not coming until fall 2021. Well, there could be a heck of a lot more games to play by then, especially if Halo comes out. Like, are people really gonna freaking give Cyberpunk a shot again? Like, I don't know, man.
They might. I mean, they did with like The Witcher, but like initially they said like, oh, the next gen updates will be like March 2021, and it's like, well, I guess that got blown out of the water just a tad.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing too is, when Witcher was coming out, it was a different like climate.
Yeah,
like
Witcher like 2 or 3 weren't bad. Like I actually like 2 quite a bit. 3 I have issues with, but like they weren't like busted at launch.
I just think that there's this. I mean, maybe they gained some of that ill will back with the free DLC and everything, and I guess that's what they're trying to do. They really want to see, can we build our reputation back up with the free DLC? And then by the time that next gen console update comes out, people really want to try it out or whatever, or they feel like there's so much more content to go back to by the time they get to that next gen update. I don't know, but it's just, I don't know. I know that I'm not touching it until that next gen update comes, even if they put it on a sale. I might buy it on the sale and then still not touch it till then.
Yeah, just have it to own.
Yeah, but it's just like, man, I don't know. I feel like by the time, there's a lot of people, same thing with, the Game Awards. Like, this also might be why they're doing it, is because Game Awards, they're up for it, and whenever that happens, and if you have the next gen console update, you have all this free DLC by then, maybe it will be in the conversation for that. But like, I don't know. I feel like there's going to be so much stuff to come out in 2021. Like, people are going to really, I
mean, if they really do fix it up, sure. I mean, look at something like No Man's Sky.
Yeah, true. But I feel like that's also people just praising that game because they have done so much with it, and that community is still getting to enjoy it and getting to enjoy those things about it. Not necessarily that you're getting. I mean, obviously it's on Game Pass now, so you're getting people trying it out, but I don't feel like it's just breadth of people all of a sudden going, okay, well, I like No Man's Sky. Who knows? Maybe I'm just totally wrong on that.
Won that award for whatever best game.
Best like community game or best ongoing game.
Yeah.
Yeah, because people are enjoying it and playing it, so hopefully this means we can just let Cyberpunk be its thing for a while, and we don't have to keep making big news events out of it. But we'll see how that goes with the lawsuits and all.
Yeah.
Nintendo also had its fair share of announcements, not involving the sales figures, along with that Super Mario 3D World, little announcement with the trailer, which was pretty awesome. You also had a really, it looks cool, but it also makes me very happy that I bought the colored Switch. There's a Super Mario 3D World Switch that will release with the game that's blue, and then the Joy-Cons are red.
Yeah.
So, and then the dock is red as well, with the Switch itself being red. So it's cool. I like it. It looks pretty cool. I don't know. Do you?
I wouldn't get it. I mean, I wouldn't get another one, but yeah. If my Switch suddenly broke, I might consider it. It also comes with a case, which is kind of nice.
And a screen protector.
Yeah.
Which you kind of need those. I wish I had one, because now when I play my Switch, I played it docked since I moved, but when I play it portable, it has a little blue line that goes across some of the screen.
That's great.
Well, thankfully it's never gotten worse. It's just been there.
Yeah.
But that's, I guess, what I get for not having a screen protector. It fell one time, and it took a while for it to show up, but like a week later, it was there. It was
just dead pixels, or yeah.
Yeah, probably. But no, this is cool. I know there's a lot of people that are like, now I want this too. I'm sure for collectors, that's a pretty neat item.
Yeah.
There. And if you don't have a Switch already for some reason, maybe you want to consider there. And maybe, new Pokemon Snap is a game to go get you a Switch 4. April 30th is when it comes out. Bandai Namco, of course, is co-developing it. It looks pretty great. I'm so down with Pokemon Snap is probably perhaps my favorite of the spin-offs. So I'm so down with this. You're going into the Lental region and you will get to pull up your photo decks as you see those Pokemon there. Are you interested in this at all, or?
I might give it a shot. I mean, it looked okay.
Yeah, I want to see more video of it or whatnot, but I'm totally down getting this. It's just awesome that we're getting a new Pokemon set. Love it.
Where's Africa 2 for the PS5?
That's probably not gonna happen. Who knows? Maybe if this does well, people like those photo modes so much now.
Yeah.
You'd think that people, you'd make a game.
Yep.
Something like that where it's totally about photo mode. So it's, interesting that got announced. So it felt like almost every day this week we got some kind of big announcement. So that was pretty cool for the entire between the Lucasfilm and then Nintendo, as well. And then also the Mass Effect, remaster has rumors going around that it's going to come out in March.
Yeah, the pre-order's already up, but it just has a TBA release date. But
yeah, that would be a good time for it. Get a lot of people something to do for that.
Yeah.
Month there. Why not? Come out in that springtime. I mean, are you going to be getting that?
Yeah, I'll be angling for that one because I really like at least 2 of those games. I'll be curious to see if they really do fix Mass Effect 1 or not.
It feels like they're not really. Is they just remastering it?
I think they said the shooting's going to be more like Mass Effect 2 and 3.
Okay, that's going to make a lot of people happy then. You'll be happy as well.
My concern if they had that stupid Mako, or if they finally fix that thing. That'll be the bigger thing.
Yeah, how much will they change about that is going to be, I think, what determines, will people give Mass Effect 1 a lot of shot? I mean, there's a lot of people that love Mass Effect 1 just the way it is, so.
I would actually, aside from the Mako, I'd say Mass Effect 1 might be my favorite, just because it's really weird compared to the other two. Believe me, Mass Effect 2 has much better story and characters, that's for damn sure. But, from a weird gameplay perspective, I like the first one the most.
Yeah, I wonder if they're gonna do anything where they allow you to play without any changes.
Yeah, if they have,
you just play the original version. Yeah.
Yeah. I doubt it, but, it'd be nice, but I don't see it happening.
Probably not, but...
EA is not one to, let things go.
They could do it, though, if they wanted.
Sure.
To just give you, okay, we'll make these all modifiers, and if you want to remove them, then can.
Yeah.
So, we'll see. Again, this is one of those games it is hugely anticipated, so.
Yep.
There's a lot on that for EA, to make that, and for BioWare to make that a good one. Make that a pleasant, thing.
It's like the last Mass Effect shot, really.
True on that, for sure. What else are we going to talk about? So why not, go into some, I guess it's not necessarily Xbox love. It's more of Joseph Fares making fun of Xbox. Of course, he's, doing It Takes Two, which is a game that I'm really excited about. Randy also talked about that when we did our most anticipated games. And he talks about how It Takes Two isn't getting any special features on next-gen consoles. And he talks about the Series X's, the Xbox blah blah. And he's annoyed at the whole, naming convention of the Series X, which, we've talked about as well. It's
yeah, so am I. I agree with him.
He says, I quote, he says, that's a freaking confusing name. What is going on with Microsoft? They're losing it, man. What is going on? Series S, X, next? Who knows? Come on, madness. Call it the Microsoft box, and that's it. I don't know. It's a total effing mess. Trust me. Even then, they're confused in their offices. What is this XS? I don't know. What the of course, yeah. It's easy. It's even better when you hear him say it. But it's yeah, you are feeling, it's exactly how all of us are feeling. The naming convention is not great. Thank God they, canceled, or stopped producing most of the One, X, and S stuff. So it's just the Series X and Series S. But,
yeah.
still, it's confusing when all that stuff was out there and when they were starting to do that. So, I don't know.
I agree with them. Like they should have named either gave like actual names like Xbox Pro and Xbox Lite, something like that.
I think they just didn't want to name it the Pro. Like they just didn't, because like that's just such the easy thing. Like I could see Nintendo not calling it the Nintendo Switch Pro when it comes out because they also don't want to just have the expected name. I could see it calling the new Nintendo Switch or something.
It'll be called the Switch Advance.
You know what? That would be bad. Like, you know, we had a Game Boy Advance, so the Switch Advance. But definitely they like that whole Lite and XL. They could call it the Switch XL as well. They love doing that stuff.
Yeah.
So you know, whatever.
Or the Switch U.
Oh, please don't do that. Bad. Yeah. Thank you, Joseph Fares, for saying all the things that we're thinking.
Yep.
Appreciate that. Also, Take-Two is officially out of the Codemasters race. They weren't in it anyway after EA had made that bid, because if they were going to be in it, that would have come out a lot faster, that they had counter-offered.
Yeah.
They waited, almost like 2 months, like a month or two to say nothing, to say this. So, yeah. I mean, yes, they are, like, it is a corporate thing that moves a lot slower, but it also feels like if you were going to try to outbid EA, you would have made a bigger show of it faster. So,
yeah.
Well, let's see what happens with that. How many of those franchises are going to keep living, and is it going to be F1 and more Need for Speed?
I imagine it'll be F1 and Dirt, and then Grid is done, and I think they said like the Project Cars guy said they're going to make another one, but considering how the last one was, I'm like, I'm all right.
Yeah, but isn't that a Bandai joke as well, or joint?
They publish it, but not anymore. Yeah. Probably. I mean,
we'll see. I guess. Now we have to get into some talk about gaming journalism again, which I'm sorry, I know some folks do not give two craps about what goes on our end of the spectrum. But sometimes things come out that we really need to discuss. And this thing with GameXplain is absolutely awful and really shows you the terrible side of, what, if you really are trying to do this, not the way that, when Keith was on with us, and really the way we do this, where I don't push these guys too much.
No, you'll eventually bug me if
I do if somebody says something, but like the thing is too, it's like we honestly should try to do this faster, but it's also like, here's the thing, GameXplain is a big channel. Like they didn't have a lot of employees, right? Because as you learned in this wonderful piece that Patrick Klepek over at Waypoint, Vice Gaming, absolutely you need to go read that. I'm going to put it in the description for the show. You absolutely should go read that. Even if you do not care about the game journalist side of things, like this is something that just, look, I get it. There is crunch in every single workplace. There is unwanted overtime, unwanted aspects of a job that sometimes you have to do, right?
Yeah.
But most of the time you're getting paid for that. And you're getting paid well, or you know what you're getting paid, and you know that the overtime means you're getting paid time and a half for that, or double, right? Like, this is the problem a lot of times with freelancing or working with a YouTube channel that also has to make money based off of views or ad revenue, and depending on that, you may not get zilch, or you get really a small amount. And we also don't know really how much Mr. Andre Sagers is pocketing for.
The fact that he didn't describe that at all or talk about it or decline to comment is kind of telling.
Well, I mean, he didn't decline to comment. He just gave the most non-answer, most whatever answer, to the whole thing of what did he say he had, okay, I have it saved here. So, first of all, I want to go and read Andre Sager's comments because never mind. I should explain what happened. So, Steve Bowling, who is now part of, he and two others that used to be at GameXplain, Derek Bittner, and was it Ash Paulson?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, they went on to leave GameXplain and make their own channel. Well, it's like their own site at this point, which is very Patreon influenced, and they have like a bunch of subscribers at this point, which I love to see that for them. That's great. But so they were one of their biggest videos that they just released not too long ago was them talking about, it was on their Today News Tonight. This is one of their...
Yeah, well, it's basically just sort of Game of the Year roundup, or them talking about,
it was their first part of their Game of the Year roundup. And so, like, he was talking about Final Fantasy VII Remake, and, again, we talked about this before. If you follow game journalism at all, you know how a lot of this works. Even big sites, even big channels, you don't really get a lot of lead time. What was explained with the Cyberpunk was that they were trying to do a day zero patch, and that's why they didn't give you early copies of the console version, which some of that might be true, but they also knew good and well they weren't going to be able to cover all that in a day zero patch. Not to mention, most of the times when you get an embargo, they tell you, don't worry about the bugs or whatever, it'll get fixed in the day one patch. And that's why a lot of that stuff gets, like, hand-waved, sometimes when you're doing these, early reviews, but Cyberpunk was just so bad you kinda couldn't mention it, or could not mention it, but a lot of times, these big games come out, and you get a very small lead time to try to make that embargo, and that's what happened with Final Fantasy VII Remake, for GameXplain, and perhaps for other channels too. We don't know how many people had to go through that. Maybe perhaps some other channels had, or some other big sites had more time. But so Steve Bowling was, at the end of the day, again, just like, Marc is my friend, Steve was trying to show Andre, who he thought it was his friend, hey, I really care about this channel, continuing to grow, so I'm going to work my ass off until I just don't sleep for 48 hours of playing the game, which takes 30 hours or so to do, 34 hours to do, then writing the script and then making the video, which that's another process that we don't really have to go through because you're just writing the review. Afterwards, when you post it, it's not having to go the extra step of making a video and then editing that video and then all that stuff. And then to find out after the fact that because of a Square Enix problem with, issues with, whether it should have a disclaimer on it, they didn't actually get to post it until 2 days after. So he basically destroyed himself for 2 days, not sleeping, not doing anything, to get that up, and then it didn't even go up till 2 days later.
Yep.
So, you can imagine anytime that game gets brought up, those are terrible memories for him. But the fact that, if Marc were to tell me, dude, when he was telling me, I stayed up till 6 or 7 a.m. playing that game, I said, well, Marc's doing that on his own. I was like, you sure you want, yeah.
Here's the thing, is this guy, I feel for him a little, because he only had 2 days to really beat it, do all the stuff. But dude also has a wife, he also has a 9-to-5 job, and 4 kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be staying up at 7 a.m. like a dumbass if I had all that crap.
Well, no, but he's also supposedly she told him you made $500 off this. But,
right.
Maybe he thought also he was going to make more money.
I doubt it, because, I'm very, I think she said, or, there's some point about, it equals out to, $1 or $2 per hour. And it's how does that work? He didn't work 500 hours in this thing. He didn't even work 250 hours. If I worked maybe 100,
but maybe he thought he was going to make more money if the video did well, or, being able to make more off of that. I don't know, but it basically, you're getting $500 for this. Was this worth $500 to you? And, his wife went on and pointed out the entire time that he's been working at GameXplain, he has a 9-to-5 job. But you really,
yeah. Did you?
What you say?
I said, I didn't see what he did like a regular job, did you?
No, I don't know what he does. Like, they didn't explain that. I'm sure they wanted to hide that because they knew this was going to be on a...
Well, I mean, it feels like, if he was an accountant, that's one thing. But if he was
it doesn't... Well, but, like, that's the thing, though. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, my job taxes me mentally. Like, it doesn't matter that whether you're sitting down or you're stalking or you're driving I mean, like, look, I get it. Like, I cannot imagine what, my sister's going through as an ER doc right now.
Yeah.
Like, she's got to be going through some crap. Like, and then there's even more. Like my sister's an ER doctor. My dad he's a different. He's like an interventional radiologist. He doesn't have to deal with that as much as like my sister would, but still, like, what I'm saying is, either way, this guy has 4 kids, has a wife, a 9-to-5 job, and you would never know that these guys have other jobs because of the way that Andre Sagers had these guys literally putting out videos moments after a direct came out. Like, literally, anytime that there was a big thing, GameXplain, especially if it was Nintendo related, they had a video out there. And then to find out how this actually worked, that like, sometimes, all of these like 4 or 5 employees, we're not talking about 20, 30 employees. We're talking about like 5 people.
Yeah.
Right? One of them had to like constantly go on break from his job to go make videos. And they're getting paid like, whatever. They're not getting paid great. And I think it's, Ash talks about how he had to, they were constantly paid late.
That's the fucked up part.
They were constantly paid late. He had to do, like, move heaven and earth to get Andre to let him work there full time and get paid decently. Like, it's absolutely bullshit that this channel makes a bunch of money, supposedly $25,000, they made, John Cartwright even said that he went unpaid for an entire year. And, it's like, eventually he got to make $25,000 a year, or $25,000 for the entire year to write and publish videos all day. But he was literally doing that all day. But some of these guys that were also not doing it all day, we don't really know how much GameXplain makes, because Andre wouldn't talk about that. But apparently $25,000 a month is a bad month.
Yep.
So if that's a bad month, I think, Patrick Clifford writes that $300,000 per year, is somewhat of what that amounts to. And it's like, really, you couldn't pay those guys more to kill themselves to do stuff for your channel? I
don't think Adam gets paid, but like, think about how his workload not workload, but like his output has decreased over the years. And believe me, that's not a slight against him at all.
He also has, I think he said he has 4 kids now.
Yeah, like, 5 years ago when he had a wife and maybe like 1 or 2 kids at max, yeah, he's pumping out reviews left and right, but now he has 4 or 5 or however many, and like employment difficulties and stuff like that, then yeah, of course it's going to slow down, or he's not going to be as productive as he once was.
Well, I mean, I think it's also, he knows, that's the difference though too, is like, this is partially why these guys left, is because the work environment was awful and they were not going to get paid what they deserved. And like, why not try to go do it yourself and get the money that you should get? And I'm glad that they are. And then one of them also went to Nintendo Life and he's doing fine there. But like, so, it's just ridiculous that he had to go through this. Look, I think, at times when I've tried to really punish myself to take it seriously, to try to make an embargo or whatever, yeah, there's nights you don't sleep. There's nights you stay up till 3 or 4 in the morning, whatever, and you have to go do your other job the next day, or you have to keep, in a lot of these guys' cases, you have to keep writing other stuff or whatever. Like, there are bad stories, but this one is awful because that's just an extreme. And it's also, like, this is supposed to be your friend. Why wouldn't you talk to him and be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, dude, if it comes out 2 days after the game came out, no big deal. Like, take care of yourself. But he couldn't even do that. because all he cared about was, oh, I just wanted you to hit that embargo. I wanted to get the most money I possibly could out of this, so whatever. And it's like, then he tries to make up with it with this stupid statement of, oh, I'm quite upset to hear about the experiences, because I consider them true friends and I hate that they felt subjected to unfair compensation and unrealistic deadlines that were out of our control. You know, I'm not a perfect person and almost whatever. It's like, it's basically like, oh, I'm sorry this happened to them. I'll learn later and I hate that this happened, but I don't really take a responsibility, for anything. And the thing is, the truth of the matter is, the embargoes are not like, we're gonna stop giving you games if you don't release the review that day. That's not how that works. Like, the embargo is just okay, this is when the embargo hits. So if you guys wanna...
It doesn't have to be the second it drops. You know, it's like, okay.
Yeah, if you want to release your review that day, you sure can. This is the moment that you can put them online. The reason why you're doing it is because you want to try to get the most hits possible. Because that's when everybody is looking for reviews. Great. You know how many frickin' sites there are doing that?
Yeah.
A bunch. You know how many people also don't kill themselves to release it that day? A lot of them. And there are quite a few that the reviews do better when you release them a week later.
Yeah.
You know? Now, if you release them like a month later, the review probably doesn't really matter at that point. But it's like, that's the thing is, the review coming out that day or not coming out that day wouldn't have really necessarily mattered. GameXplain at that point has such a huge following. People are willing to wait.
Right.
How many of these Patreons, podcasts or whatever, they had came out on a certain day. People wait till that day to listen to it. Or you say, hey, I'm sorry, I had some stuff come up, it's gonna be late. Like, as long as you communicate, everybody, the PR people understand. Like, it's absolute BS that this is the way it had to be, but that all comes down to Mr. Sagers. And I'm sorry for saying his name. Well, actually, I'm not sorry if I'm saying his last name wrong or not. But he, as an editor, could have said, dude, like, what are you doing? But that's the thing. Did Steve ever talk to him about that while he was doing it? Like, was there communication of, hey, I'm making sure I don't sleep to give you this review? I don't know. That's not explicitly said, and I don't want to speculate. But still, like, it's awful to hear that he broke down in tears after he found out that basically, like, he wasted that time because the video didn't actually go up until 2 days later.
Yeah.
And it's terrible, and it's just like, but it's what's bad is, like, this is stuff about the industry that doesn't get talked about because people don't want to be fair, writers don't talk about themselves. And it's like you hear about the crunch in like making the game or whatever, but anytime a writer talks about how, man, I had to play that game for 30 hours nonstop, you just get a bunch of Twitter hate because, oh, you're getting paid to play a video game. Hoo-hoo. It's like, listen, they're also getting paid bullshit money to play this video game so you can read that review that you want to go bash because you have nothing better to do. Like, it's like, that's what bothers me, is we should talk about that more, and it should be brought to light more so that, I don't know, that publishers are going to change a lot of what they do, whether they, like, start giving people games earlier, or they loosen the reins on the embargo, or explicitly tell people, like, you don't have to feel like you have to, you know, put your review out that day, or something, or just the editors have to be better. Like, I know for the guides writers, there's a lot of places that, because they have to do a lot of work in a short amount of time. They have to do a lot of work because that really is trying to get those walkthroughs and those things out before, along with the game coming out. And that even makes more sense than actually the review, because a lot of people would just go straight into playing a game that they're super excited about, and then if they get stuck, they'll go read the guide, not read a review. So, like, a lot of times you'll spend all that time writing a guide, and then you get a few days off or whatever, which still maybe isn't the greatest thing, but it's still better than what it used to be. But, you know, a lot of this is not going to change, probably, or it's going to take a lot for it to change. But I really wish people would understand, like, a lot of these freelancers, they have other jobs. I have another job. Like, people are not just sitting on their butts at home or going to an office and playing video games all day, and that's what they're getting paid a bunch of money to do. Most of the time, they're not getting paid a bunch of money. And most of the time, they're also playing like 2 or 3 different games at a time. Or they have their other job, they have to come home. Oh, and you don't get paid for the time that you sit there and play the game. You get paid for when you write, and that's it. So all that extra time you're playing the game, you're doing that on your own time, on your own convalescence. Not spending time with your kids, your family, whatever.
Yeah.
So, that's the thing is you don't get to just leave the office and leave it there. You're doing other shit at the office and then coming home and continuing the work. Which there's a lot of people that lose because that puts a lot of stress on the family afterwards. So, I feel bad for these guys. I feel bad that they had to go through this. I'm glad that they're in better situations. But I just really hope that there's good that comes out of this. And there's good that comes out of it. I mean, look, and this happens in other media, but I can't speak on that. But just hearing stories of people saying, oh, I get paid like $5 an article. But then I had to kill myself to write 200 articles. I think even Ash talks about it. To make a certain amount of money, he had to write and produce so much video content. And it like destroyed him mentally. That gets to you eventually. You think it's enjoyable, but then it's a lot that you're going through just to make. Someone was telling a story about how they made $680 a month destroying themselves to write articles just to make that much.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not even, and you're saying that person's full time making $5 an article. You're like, whoa, you're killing you're exploitating. That's ridiculous. I'm sorry, I probably went way too long on this, whatever, but I just want, I feel like there should be more discourse on this, and hopefully that means that we will have.
Yeah, but the problem is you have those, ex and current Gamergate assholes saying, oh, you have a privileged job or stuff like that, and it's like, be quiet.
Yeah, it's like, guys, come on. It's not a...
Or is it, okay, you can go do it too. It's not like...
No, I mean, that's the thing is people think that they can go do it, and it's not something that you can just...
the opportunities aren't there. I mean, they could always start up their own site.
Yeah, they can, but I'm just saying, it's not everybody can do that and do it well.
Oh yeah, that's the difference. Is they can do it, they just don't do it well because most of them actually can't write that well, or don't understand how to structure a review, or the half of other things that you need to focus on.
Exactly. It's not just playing it and then okay, we're done. And
I have a friend who toyed or bugged me a few times about how to become a reviewer, and then I think he said ultimately he said there are games, certain games you can't critique, or that he can't critique because he just likes them too much, like Final Fantasy VII, the original one. And it's that's, no, you have, that's the whole thing is, no game is perfect, trust me.
No game is perfect.
You should be able to critique anything, or, not find a serious fault, but find fault in damn near any game.
Yeah, as you play it, you need to be thinking about your experience, and it's good to take notes as well and all that stuff, but I don't want to get down that rabbit hole. But it's just, it is something that should be discussed more, and there is probably just as bad going on at other places that we don't even know about, what's happening with GameXplain, but I think
Jeff Gerstmann told a story when he was at GameSpot back in the day, when they had I think they got Zelda Ocarina of Time in on a Friday night, a Friday afternoon, and he had to play it all day or play it over all weekend to get the review done by Monday morning.
That happens a lot.
Yeah,
that happens a lot. Breath of the Wild, it happened. People got the game and they had 2 days to beat it and write the review.
But think about that game. He talks about it in the vein of he got stuck at a certain point in the game when he had to get the fire arrows, and he was just so spun out that he couldn't figure it out until he took a nap for 2 or 3 hours, got up, and then he was coherent enough to figure out the puzzle.
Yeah, I mean and that's the thing is a lot of times it's just okay, well, you have to write it, so figure it out, or,
Also, like, there weren't games at the time, or there weren't guides at the time. They were all, like, Japanese. Like,
yeah, I mean, and a lot of times, too, that's the one thing that will sometimes save you is, at least at the bigger sites, is you do have that guides writer that's also playing it at the same time. And if you can't figure something out, that person might have.
yeah.
Or whatever,
Or, like, you might have a contact at some other, like, publication and go, hey, are you reviewing, Cyberpunk, or have you gotten to this quest, or did it break on you, or what happened,
Or even that PR company sometimes will send you a
guide,
cheat
or like
sheet.
Yeah.
Because they know you have to do what you gotta do to try to beat this game in a fast manner. So, and that's the thing too, is like, it also makes the game, a lot of times there's games that you wind up disliking because you're having to play it so much, so often without stopping, trudging through parts that would normally take a normal consumer, a normal gamer, a couple of days to get through.
Yeah.
But they're having to do that in a matter of hours. And it's not like watching a movie. Oh, I watched a 2-hour movie. Oh, I might have to watch it again to understand that. But that was still at the most, it was 4 hours. And you can then still have time to write your review or whatever. Or even the TV show, okay, I watched like 6 episodes. I gotta write my thoughts on that or whatever. It's like, it's not the same as having to fully concentrate, moving your fingers, doing all this, perhaps even taking, notes while you're playing, stopping to do that. You're barely just like eating and doing the essentials. And then you don't really get to sleep at all.
Yeah.
And you're like a zombie doing this. So, it's not great. It's not a great, practice. I just hope that what comes out of this is also that these people get paid more for what they do. Cause there was just before then, there was freelancers talking about how they got absolutely, they got told they were going to get paid something and then they didn't pay them at all. Like, it happens a lot too. So we need to be better everybody needs to be better as an industry of doing better about this. But, moving away from this, maybe this will help shed light on other studios doing this kind of thing. But again, Patrick Kliva did a great job with this whole thing, and you really should, go check it out. That being said, also, Jason Schreier did his whole, like, going through the whole entire development thing with CD Projekt Reds and Cyberpunk. I didn't want to go through that again with Cyberpunk. We talked about that a lot. You should definitely go read that as well. I'll put that in the description. But, to, finish stuff out here, Killzone's website got taken down as Sony looks like Sony may have retired Killzone. Looks like the franchise may be done. I mean, Guerrilla Games is much happier doing Horizon.
Yeah. I mean, Killzone never really got off the ground that well. I mean, it was popular enough, but it wasn't like the Halo killer that they were obviously wanting it to be. And I know the last Killzone really didn't do that well.
That was a PS4 launch game.
Yeah, Shadowfall or something. Mm-hmm. And like that game like really came by and went. Like,
yeah.
So yeah, they're obviously happier doing better games. So
yeah, I mean it's just like Insomniac not doing the Resistance.
Yeah. Although
Resistance
had at least a little more, like, I wouldn't say cachet, but I mean it was like a little more popular at least. At least the first one was. People still talk fondly about that game.
Yeah. I mean, but it's good that Guerrilla Games is happy doing what they want to do. Like, something that they're really proud of and are happy to be doing. And if you're a big Killzone fan, I'm sure a little bit of you is hurting there. But, you can still go play them.
I'm not sure about, not the multiplayer, probably not for much longer.
Yeah, not the multiplayer, but you can go play those single player campaigns if you want.
Yeah.
And also, because this game comes out pretty soon, interesting to note some weird things with Hitman 3, in that you don't have a Steam cross-buy support, so you can import the levels from Hitman 1 and 2. On PlayStation or Xbox, it works like if you already own 1 and 2, you can download the Hitman 1 and 2 Access Pack for free in Hitman 3. In fact, actually, if you were thinking about Hitman 3 and you haven't really paid attention to the sales going on, Hitman 2, I think, is on, it's like $11.
Yeah.
Right now if you have PS Plus, so it's well worth, checking out, as well. The thing that sucks about, PC is you can't just verify that you own Hitman 1 or 2, because Hitman 3 is Epic Store exclusive.
Yep.
So you'll actually need to go buy the Epic Store version of Hitman 1.
Well, I think they said that was free. Or, it's if you buy Hitman 3, you get Hitman 1 for free, well,
there's a Hitman 1, Game of the Year Access Pass, I guess, that you can get.
But Hitman 2 is when you're going to have to buy.
Yeah, and Hitman 2, well, to be fair, it's 80% off.
Right.
On the Epic Games Store. But that's what happens sometimes with these exclusivity things. This just happens to be a game where if you really want those levels, obviously Hitman 3 has its own levels.
See, I'm surprised they don't have, they should be able to tie that up into progress, because they mentioned that there's an IO account. So it's okay, if you ever played this any Hitman 2 level, you obviously own the game on Steam or some other platform. So, here you go.
Yeah, but does Epic want to offer that kind of integration, though?
No.
I mean, don't they do that with, your Steam friends, though? They let you...
I think they tried to, and then Steam shut them down. I was like, wait, what? Hell no.
Okay, well, I don't blame them, I guess. They don't want to really work. I mean, it's the same thing of, it's not like everything comes out and everything is crossplay with Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo, right? It's certain things. So, I mean, I don't see with Epic and Steam being still in this fight that they're in, I don't see them playing nice, if ever, for a long time.
No.
So I don't...
Yeah, exactly.
I don't blame Epic for doing this. That would mean that they would have to play nice with Steam, and they don't want to do that. They're fighting their own war with Apple. They're not trying to do the Microsoft thing of, let's be nice. Let's try to do this for everybody. And they don't need to be fair. Everybody's sitting there still playing Fortnite and all that junk. So, I'm not excusing it. I think there should be something. It is still owned on your freaking computer. But this is what happens when you buy things on certain stores, right? They don't all work with each other.
Here's an interesting alternative is, a while back ago, Steam made all their player profiles private, or the games they played private. You can still see a profile, but you can't see a lot of stuff now. You should be able to make your profile public and say, hey, I own Hitman 2 on Steam. Look at my fucking profile. But...
Yeah, but that still makes them have to work with Steam, and I think that they don't want to have to even venture that. Plus, I mean, it's extra sales that they get. They are a company. They are about money, even as much as a shady practice as it is.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Is there any... I meant to watch, they're only 30 minutes long. I meant to watch, both of those WandaVision.
Yeah, I saw those. They were good.
What'd you think of them, I guess, without,
I thought seeing, Kitty Foreman from That 70s Show was pretty funny. They have really good chemistry of Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen. She's funny because, you think about her sisters, but they're not acting anymore, obviously. So, she's the popular one now. But yeah, good cinematography, good jokes, really funny. I can't think of her name. The neighbor is really good. Oh, what's her name? I know it's Jennifer something, I think. Oh, Catherine Hahn, that's it, sorry. She's good as the kind of neighbor to Elizabeth Olsen. There's really good cartoons and jokes, kind of in jokes as well.
Yeah. I just saw, I think, the first 5 minutes of and all the old-timey black and white sort of I Love Lucy jokes.
Well, the show seems to be aging. The first episode is clearly it's supposed to be the 50s or something. And the next episode looks like it's in the 60s. Because she looks different. He looks the same kind of, but in the first episode, she's very much a housewife outfit. Even with the weird pointy bra. It's I don't think she's supposed, her chest isn't that weird looking. At least in the other stuff, it's, the previous movies and stuff. But she's very much wearing an outdated bra. And then in the 60s, for the next episode, she's wearing pants, which was an anathema back in the day.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's that, like, women couldn't wear pants thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. Like, I'm interested in the mystery, and, you know, nothing else is Marvel's coming out this year. That Hellstrom show sucked ass, and no one watched it.
Well, isn't the Winter Soldier and Falcon thing?
Yeah, sorry. I meant, like, I guess I kind of meant, like, more last year. Like, you know, because it was such a screwed up year that, like, yeah, we'll get Falcon and Winter Soldier and maybe Black Widow finally this year sometime.
Yeah, I think like Black Widow's far enough where, yeah, if Disney just does the same thing like Mulan, where they kind of put it in Disney Plus at the same time, or, yeah, I mean, I don't know. They've really tried to avoid that with the Marvel movies. They've done it with like a lot of the other movies, but.
Well, yeah, because Marvel is like seen as like the tentpole release, or like, you know.
Yeah.
And arguably, they're some of the biggest movies of the year, so.
Well, they don't want to cut that. They don't want to do the Wonder Woman thing where it's not doing well at the box office, because why would you go when you can just watch it on HBO Max?
They are the Call of Duty of the movie franchise or movie.
Yeah, it's true. As much as you like them and you don't want to have to compare the two. Yeah.
But yeah, it's worth watching. I think there's only 8 episodes, so just like, you know, Mandalorian, like, it's not a huge investment. And it's only half hour long, like you said, so that's also good.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good thing too. It's not like an hour long, like, sometimes Mandalorian is like, oh man, it's 45 minutes or whatever, but.
Some of them are longer, and yeah, they kind of, some of them do drag on quite a bit.
Yeah, I am glad, how do you feel about do you like the Disney Plus, model of like releasing it every week, or?
Not really.
They did the Netflix.
Yeah, Netflix is always better, but I know why though, because they're trying to drum up interest in the show, like to keep people invested. But it's like, okay, after Mandalorian and WandaVision, like.
I mean, it works with Mandalorian though.
Yeah, but like a lot of people can't, or like, you know, CBS Interactive or CBS Plus does the same thing. Like, they just do like, you know, piece like every week, and it's like, the minute it ends, like, you know, you just forget about it and cancel the subscription until something else comes back on you want.
Yeah,
like me and a friend of mine are watching the Stand thing on CBS, and it's terrible. It is like the worst show.
I'm glad I did not try so hard to read that book fast enough to watch that.
No, the book is good, and the old miniseries is good, if not a little toothless, but it's also a 94 miniseries on ABC. What do you expect?
Yeah.
I mean, this thing has a lot more nudity and violence in it, and like swearing, but that doesn't make it a good show. And the fact that they've devolved so badly from the source material would just make you like incensed.
Yeah, I mean, that's good. I do appreciate that they're trying to do, like, I like those little, Marvel Legends things where it tells you the story, like, leading up to the show. I think that's good. Like, I like that they're doing, like, all these inside things now. Like, the Inside Pixar thing was really good to go along with Soul. Like, they need more stuff like that. I think that also kind of makes, these releases feel, and it's also like original content they can put in there, on the Disney Plus. So, I mean, it'll help a lot when they have all these shows to be able to put in. Like Netflix, I mean, it's so crazy that, that commercial I just saw before we started recording was the whole Netflix has a new movie every freaking week. Like, yeah. But think about all the stuff they've had to go through, and also how much they're charging, almost $20 a month now.
My problem is, like, Netflix does have a ton of movies. How many of them are actually good?
There is some good ones. Like, I like the Old Guard a lot. And,
I mean, they have
a few.
Yeah, but they also have like, a lot of, like, Blumhouse films, or, like, just bottom of the barrel crap. That's like.
Well, I mean, but they also have, like, the really good shows. Like, you know, Queen's Gambit. I like the Black Manor.
Their shows have a much better track record than, like, you know,
I agree.
That Will Smith, like, Paranormal Detective or Cop or whatever. It's like, and then they're trying to make a sequel, and I was like, why?
No, they are making a sequel. It's like, I don't know how that got a sequel, like, cause that movie was not good, but whatever, I guess they got enough views on it.
Yeah.
That, you know, I mean, that's the thing, like, but think about how much they spend.
Sure.
I mean, and when is Disney going to get to the point where they jack up the price? Like,
Within like
Netflix just jacked up the price again. I looked at my bill; it was $19.45. So, like, is Disney Plus going to eventually get to the $10 range?
Oh yeah,
because they're spending all this money. I mean, to be fair, Disney has more avenues where they make money, where they don't have to jack up the price for a while if they don't want to.
That was one thing I read about, like, the Lucasfilm stuff or about Disney gaming. Like, they're getting back into gaming because they kind of have to, because, like, their amusement parks aren't making money right now. Like,
yeah. I mean, but they're also, like, they're not, yeah, I mean, they had to cover the losses for that, which are going to go beyond, I mean, they just had to kill the annual pass, basically,
yeah.
because now they have restrictions again, at least for Disneyland. I don't know if the way DeSantis is, like, I can't imagine, I live in Florida, by the way, in the South Florida area, so, I'm making these comments as someone that has to live here and see, we don't want to have any restrictions, and in fact, I will make you suffer if you put restrictions in, because I can't bear to see this economy have any issues at all. But still, whatever. It's crazy. Like, I didn't think that we were gonna get to the point where all of these companies are gonna do this. But I mean, if there is one company that can do that crazy announcement like they did at their Disney Day, Investor Day thing, where they announced so many freaking series, and between Star Wars and Marvel and all these movies and all that.
Yeah. Well, do you see the rumor that Chris Evans is coming back?
Yeah, I saw that too. I like how he posted it, news to me or whatever.
I'm good. Like, I don't.
I like him as. I mean, Captain's my favorite, so.
And as a guy, he seems cool, but, like, he left on his own terms, it seems like, in Avengers Endgame, and it's like, you don't have to come back, like.
Yeah, and he seems to be, like, I liked him in Knives Out, like, he seems to do well in the other things that he's in, so it's not like he needs it. Like, I would say, that's another one of the movies that Netflix I thought did pretty good in, the one that Chris Hemsworth is in, which for some reason I can't think of the title.
Oh, the Green Zone, I know the one you're talking about.
I thought he was pretty good in that. Like, I thought that movie was pretty good. But, like, I feel like, unlike Chris Evans, I feel like he does kind of need Thor a bit.
Oh, yeah. Because, he's not a bad actor, but I think he's more limited in range than, like, Chris Evans is. No offense to him.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, Chadwick Boseman did not have to have another Black Panther. He's great in almost pretty much everything he does, so. But he made Black Panther what it is, and the fact that they're not going to replace him is great as well. But, like, it is weird that it seemed like he was really, set to not come back, and then I guess he's trying to be cryptic about it, obviously, but looks like he's
not going to come back as Captain America. He'll come back as the Human Torch.
Let's not. Well, maybe he'll. Hey, look, if they get a good. I just want that movie to be good. I want the Fantastic Four movie to be good. That's all I care about. So, all right. Well, I think that's it. I did mention Hitman 3 is the big game. First big game for January that's coming. And it'll be out next week. Again, unfortunately, out of our crew, we don't really have anyone that's super excited about it.
I mean, like, if they somehow offered us a code, I'd probably take it just to,
I mean, I could go ask for one, but that's what I don't want to go ask for one, and you're not super.
I'm not chomping at the bit. Let's say that.
I mean, I'm not saying that you have to be chomping at the bit for every game, but if it's not like at least I'm sort of really interested.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and Sony they pushed some announcements out, like Kina's now coming out in, was it March?
Right.
Which is good. Returnal's also coming out almost pretty much after that. So yeah, good for Sony to come out with, their stuff, pretty quick there, so we know what's coming. But yeah, man, that's it. Is like Hitman's the thing. I think a lot of people are already playing. If you're reviewing, I've already seen people are playing that thing. We're waiting on Everspace, too, if that's, of course, that's early access, to be fair, as well. But yeah, so I'm still waiting for Cyber Shadow, which is the week after. I know some people are excited about that Atelier, Ryza 2, Lost Legends. So, and that Project Winter game that came out of nowhere as well for Xbox. So that's coming out, around then too. So yeah, man, we're getting there, but I like the fact that we had a ton of news this week. That was good to see. Felt like we're finally, back in the groove of things. I should have I've been swamped with like moving and work and everything. I'm finally going to get that freaking my top 10 games of 2020 out and then get the site article out so you can be done with that.
Yeah, I don't know about everyone else, but I think me and Jens turned in our stuff at least.
Oh yeah, everybody turned it in. Everybody has their thing. You guys did a great job. All I got to do is
organize it.
Write the blurbs that for the games that are not on my top 10, which is like I think Kentucky Route Zero. And like maybe another one, and that's it. And and then it's just a bunch of organizing and copy and pasting. So, yeah, shouldn't, take that long to do. Again, I don't even know if, who's reviewing the Scott Pilgrim. I think Randy said he was gonna do it eventually, but, hopefully they did release a patch already, so I don't know if that fixed some of the co-op issues.
Yeah.
Or not. We'll have to try that again, but, yeah, we'll have more to say, when that time comes. Until next week, everybody. Hope you enjoyed what you heard. Hit that review button. Let us know. And we'll see you later.
Later.